Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to finish up the week that I've been talking about John chapter 4 and Jesus at the woman at the well. Now, just sort of as a recap, let me share that Jesus comes through Samaria, which is not something that a Jew would do. And it's not like he had no other options, because he did. But he chose to come through there because I think he wanted to meet the woman at the well. Now, she doesn't know that. The disciples don't know that. And so everybody's kind of perplexed by what he's doing, which isn't necessarily so different from today, I think. But in any case, he and the woman have this conversation, and she finally, at the end, admits that he's a prophet and must be something special. And then we'll pick it up from there, chapter 4, beginning with verse 21. Jesus says to this woman, "Believe me, dear woman, the time is coming when it will no longer matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem." They had been having a discussion about where do you have to worship God. And Jesus says, "You Samaritans know very little about the one you worship, while we Jews know all about him, for salvation comes through the Jews. But the time is coming, indeed, it is here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. The Father is looking for those who will worship him that way. For God is a spirit, so that those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." The woman said, "I know the Messiah is coming, the one who is called Christ. When he comes, he will explain everything to us." And Jesus told her, "I am the Messiah." Well, let's just stop here a second. We'll come back and say a little more. The days that Jesus is walking around, people had a real sense of maybe something special was going to happen. I mean, the prophets had foretold it, and they believed the prophets, at least somewhat. And this guy, Jesus, walking around, seemed to embody everything that they had hoped for, including getting rid of the Romans. Now, we find out later on in his ministry that that wasn't part of the plan, but everybody thought it was. And so he says, it doesn't matter where you worship. There's coming a time when all you have to do is worship in spirit and in truth. Prior to that, in order to worship, you had to go to special places. The Samaritans said it was a mountain that differed from the Jews. The Jews said it had to be in Jerusalem. And Jesus is saying, no, 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 no. You can worship God anywhere. And I think that applies to us today. Many people think you can't worship God out in life. It has to be in some special place or some special way or with some special words. And it really doesn't. Now, I have had a lot of people tell me, oh, I can worship God when I'm doing such and such. And the truth of the matter is, yes, you could. The real question is, but do you really do that? And I suspect that answer is most of the time, probably not. But in any case, the woman says, "You seem to know all this stuff. I know the Messiah is coming. I know he's reflecting this." See, the Samaritans have similar beliefs to the Jews. They just don't like each other. Jesus said, "I am the Messiah." Now, that doesn't carry nearly the weight for us that it did for her. And perhaps our 2,000 years of history of there being a Christian church has numbed us into the incredible meaning of the ministry of Jesus. But then listen to this. The very next verse says, "Just then his disciples came, and they were shocked, finding him talking to a woman, but none of them had the nerve to ask, What do you want with her? Why are you talking to her? The disciples were amazed. Once again, Jesus breaks the boundaries. He isn't who they thought he was. He's more than that. And today we get stuck in who should be a Christian and who can't be a Christian and so on and so forth. And God, every time we put him in a box, breaks out of the box and says, nope, that's not me. You got to think bigger. And the task today is to realize how big God is and how much he cares and how incredible a life is that walks with you. I don't know where you are in your walk through time. Mine's getting towards the end. Not there yet. Don't write me off just yet. But the days that I have left are less than the days that I have had. That I know. And sometimes that's a strange feeling. But as much as I've learned about God, there's infinite more yet to be learned. Now, it's really exciting here. As the disciples came up and thought these thoughts, it says in verse 28, the woman left her water jar besides the well. Remember, that's what she came for. She came to get a jar of water. That's all she intended to happen. Nowhere did she expect anything other than that. It says she left the jar and ran back to the village, telling everyone about this man and about this water of living, of life. And I can just see her change because she met Jesus. It changed everything about her. And when you and I are willing to meet Jesus on his terms, not ours, it changes everything. It just makes it different. And I hope, like this woman at the well I've talked about this week, I hope you've been challenged to think about who God is, especially if you're one of those who have been mad at him or angry or indifferent, that somehow your heart has been softened or opened, or just that you're willing to seek God and see who you find. Thanks for listening this week. Hope you have a great weekend. If there's anything we can do to help out, just let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Thanks for listening. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back Monday with a whole nother idea. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.